सबको नमस्कार, आदरणीय वीसी साहब, distinguished guests present here. First and foremost, I am very grateful to the organizers to giving my organization a platform to portray their views on the trans-Himalayan landscape of Ladakh. Since I'm a little off from organic farming, but I'll be presenting in very brief, since there's time paucity, I've been in 10 minutes. So I'll be in very briefly trying to take you across Ladakh and I'll tell you the activities what my organization is doing and what we have for the future. Ladakh today is going to have decided to go carbon neutral and as well as organic. So it's going to be an organic state now. So the title I just gave, like Trans-Himalayan Landscape of Ladakh, the challenge is to combat desertification. In brief, I will be taking a brief introduction of the region, a little glimpse, key features, highlight harsh environment and the growing season, challenges, issues and problems in the region, our ICFR's initiatives through its regional institute, the Himalayan Forest Research Institute in Shimla, to address the above issues. We'll be focusing on activities and projects to be initiated and the way forward. If you see, it's part of the Himalayan arc in the northwest part of the country, which we call the Trans-Himalaya. It's a botanically unique region which sustains unique biodiversity and diverse habitats. It's usually described as the high-altitude desert. It's a very fragile ecosystem. Habitation you mainly find in valley plains, where there's moisture and water. Traditional houses that had served generations are unable to cope with the climate change and global warming, which is present very, it's very evident. Earlier the house, we would get more of snowfall and less of, present in the form of rain. But over the years, I've been noticing, I've been working in this part of the country for more than 25, 26 years now. What I've noticed is that the pattern of precipitation has changed. The houses, the mud houses, they're not able to sustain the rainfall which is coming in other than the winter months. If you come see the agriculture in the region, it's very low, it's marginal, you see, with only 0.3% of the land currently, which is arable. The holdings are very small. You can see less than 0.5 hectare, 50% of it. Wheat, barley are the traditional crops and still form the staple food of over 60%, and only 60% of total cropped areas is these crops. Fodder is the backbone of agriculture and animal husbandry. 23% is kept for that. The climate is very harsh. You only get one crop, one season. The trend in migration to towns observed due to economic reasons is a very, is a factor which needs to be considered. If you go to the harsher areas of, for example, Janskar area, during the season time, you'll find the villages empty. There'll be only females. There are no male members you'll come across them because all of them have moved to Leh to earn some living. He may be a priest. He may be anyone. He may be Amchi, but you will find them in Leh to earn some cash during the season. The agricultural fields, they are totally abundant now, you can see in these areas. The younger lot, they're trying to escape the drudgery of work. They want something very easy now. The traditional farming practices are finding it difficult to cope with the rapidly changing climatic conditions. If you see its unique biodiversity, it may be looking barren and dry, but if you see go across the landscape, the biodiversity is very rich. It may be faunal or it may be vegetational. Coming to the plant diversity, it's basically alpine arid rangelands, desert steppe, and oceanic. And if you see based on Gaussian criterion, then we have eremic as well as hemi-eremic. If you see champion SAID's classification, then we have three categories: the alpine pastures, the dry alpine scrub, and the dwarf juniper scrub. And as per Rogers and Panvar, they have put it as the Trans-Himalaya. Now coming to the flora of the region, earlier was Stewart, then Kachru et al. Came, Aswal and Marotra. Now we have the BSI, they have come up with 2 volumes of angiosperm as well as the monocots in a thing. And this region is a mega center of endism in our flora, in the country's flora. You see lots of species, majority of them are endemic to the region. In one view, you'll see it looks just a small riverine habitation, but if you see it very closely, it's a congregation of many species. And this is the important part of vegetation of the region because all the faunal species, they require this for their survival. The challenge is the region is a major supplier of crude drugs. The Amchi system, which is prevalent even today, it's more famous than the allopathic medicines. You go to any part, any nook corner of Ladakh, maybe it's Kargil or the Leh district, the Amchi system is very strong and highly respected in society. So we need to encourage that. Now, if you see the challenges, the issues that require focus are, we have harsh climate and rugged topography, which are challenges to livelihood of the local communities. It's a climate data scarce region, poor weather database, major limitation for climate change studies. We talk about global warming and climate change. We don't have even a decade's data with us, whereas there are many countries outside who have 50 to 60 to even 70 years data to look back and take out some policy on that. Then there's high degree of sensitivity to environmental and economic activities. There's grazing pressure, increasing livestock, shrinking of good pastures, which is emerging as a key conservation issue in the region. Then we have soil resource poorly understood, tourism that is unregulated. The carrying capacity studies need to be undertaken for tourism activities. Then we need to focus on the study of the non-timber forest products, and more importantly, the traditional knowledge, which is very rich there, and which is being neglected. Coming to erosion, snow melt, and if you see this, due to climate change, in any other landscape, precipitation comes as a boon, where water will eventually be soaked by the soil, making it rich and fertile besides enriching the water table. However, when you come to Ladakh's landscape, the rocky terrain shows no natural mechanism to ingest the rainwater. It hence pushes it downwards as flash floods, which is very prevalent now in the region. Another case of land degradation is the grazing pressure. I will not go very much detail into it. Just slide itself is going to speak what I mean to say. Then the fuel wood extraction and collection. Shrubs is, if you see, are the source of energy and is the way of life there. It's very difficult, for us to even people living in cities and towns to imagine how much it matters to the people living in the region. Its overutilization is a threat for desertification. The species, I will not go into detail of this. The use of shrubs for fuel represents unique cultural adaptations, which is difficult for us urbanites to even imagine. Coming to degradation and tourism pressures and the cultural survival, this is a big issue. There's large tourist numbers which are, it's increasing by 60 to 70% each year. And what is happening? The trekkers are using this case foreign fuel resources because the ponies and mules, they have to take their luggage and into the field. What basically is what the hurting is the breeding grounds of very rare faunal species, the black-necked crane. Now you can see earlier if you would go to Pangangso or any other lake, you would find less tourism activities. But now where these are the places where these birds come and they lay their eggs and they go back after the winter. But what is happening today, due to a lot of garbage being thrown around, we have lots of feral dogs. They are attacking these birds. The eggs are not being protected. So this is becoming a very big issue in the region. And it's also now the state bird of Ladakh, the black-necked crane. Now, the ICFR initiatives in the region are like documentations of native flora. We have field research station in Spiti in the cold desert of Himachal Pradesh. And now we have we're coming up with one in Ladakh. Then we have nursery research where we're propagating nursery techniques of the native species. We have field research projects in collaboration with, like for example, we have a very good project these days with the Amchi Institute in Ladakh. We're working on documentation and augmentation of the medicinal plants in the region. Then we're doing ecological assessments, studies on poplars and salix, their performance testing. We're doing field community plantations and taking out promising clones of mainly of poplars. A significant achievement for the cold desert region is the juniper. The juniper is the lifeline of the cold deserts. Till now, not much success was found in the germination of this species. But at our organization have come up with seed technology for this, and we've been regularly supplying seedlings to the people in Ladakh, in the villages as well as in Spiti area. These are some of the measures taken to combat desertifications. These are by some other agencies like the HAR, UHF, DDP, CSK. The future priorities of region can be fixed by building an NTFP resource for enhancing socio-economic status of local communities, development of agro techniques of prominent native species, nursery and planting technique development of native species suitable for eco-restoration there, re-energizing the pasture lands and studies on carrying capacity, larger role of local communities in their active participation, above all, awareness creation among the local communities. We need outreach programs like the one we have Prakriti with the government of India, where there's a student scientist exchange program when we go across the region. Now the focus of activity is sustainable. We're going to cover the SDGs, the very important to, when you do our work, we need to cover these SDGs as well. One thing important is that the Honorable Prime Minister of India, while inaugurating COP14 of UNCCD on September 19, announced setting up a Center of Excellence at ICFRD to promote South cooperation for addressing land degradation issues. So, these are some of our novel initiatives with NGOs. We have facility expertise available at Leh, which we are working upon now. And the agenda forward would include afforestation and documentation of floristic diversity, knowledge sharing and transfer of technology, other research organizations, conceptualizing and implementing transformative projects, development of agroforestry models, capacity building of stakeholders, technical support to the Ladakh government and the forest department, documentation of upscaling of existing best practice in ITK, and academic programs. Like we're having a lot of students from Ladakh who are pursuing their PhDs and MScs with us. This is one of the projects which I'm running with the Amchi Institute at Leh. And one important, before I finish, I just want to tell you about the golden bush, which we call the wonder plant and the promise for the future. A lot has been done on it, but somehow we have not come up with the desired results. This species is indigenous, ecological and economically important. Its quality fodder and fuel wood, aids soil conservation, sustains fauna. Industry is willing to invest generously. Success stories in over 40 countries. It's been included as horticultural activity under the Mission for Integrated Development of Horticulture scheme of the Ministry of Agriculture. Ideal plant for cold deserts can be grown on large scale for income generation and ecological benefits, and the resource, however, has not been fully tapped in the region. We have 3 species of poppy there, and these are some of the projects to be implemented in Ladakh, which we are working on. Like in the words of the Dalai Lama, I just said, the earth is not just an environment, the earth is our mother. Thank you. Jule, as they would say in Ladakh. I apologize because of paucity of time. I could not go very detailed. I had to rush through. Anyway, I'm once again grateful to the organizers for providing an opportunity for my organization to be here. Thank you.